live from the Business Radio X studios in Pensacola, Florida, it's time for Pensacola Business Radio. Now, here are your Business Radio X hosts.
Good morning, everybody. Keith over here, broadcasting live from downtown Pensacola. That was really loud in my ears, so I'm kind of like recouping. Tammy's over there sort of falling out of her stool. See here? So this is going to be a great little spotlight episode that we're doing for the Better Business Bureau. And so we're going to really kind of get into it. And I thought, as we started talking this morning, business for business, and it's like 4 B's today. It's like one more than 3. It's out of control. So hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Thanks for being here. I'm glad I answered the door this time.
Yeah.
It's amazing what happens when the guests actually show, and I actually answered the door. So tell me about your world, really.
My world?
Yeah.
Personally or BBB world?
That's entirely up to you. I would probably say let's go BBB, but if you need some therapy, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we can schedule another time for that.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be sure to answer the door.
Well, I am the communications director for the Better Business Bureau. We serve Northwest Florida, so we are covering the 14 counties here in the Panhandle. We go from the Alabama state line all the way over to Leon County.
Yeah.
We don't go into Leon County. That's our sister BBB in Jacksonville, but we do cover the 14 counties. And as communications director, I am covering all of those. So
yeah. So what does that mean? You're literally you're traveling to them, aren't you?
I'm on the road quite a bit.
Yeah.
We're actually in our Torch Award season that I'll talk about a little bit later. And I've been going to a lot of Rotaries and actually, asking them to highlight their businesses. Mm-hmm. And, we have this Torch Award that we want to recognize the businesses for the way that they do business ethically, mm-hmm. And the right way. And so, I've gone all the way to Panama City in the last couple of weeks.
Wow. They're slowly getting back together, aren't they?
They are. I actually didn't get into Panama City because where I was going was the outskirts.
Yeah.
But slowly but surely. But we got some scams going on around there too, which
that's what happens with a hurricane, right?
Yeah.
All the time.
All the time.
So when the Better Business Bureau comes in and sort of you do your communication or whatever, what are you looking for within the business community?
We wanted to highlight businesses that are doing things the right way. And so you can be accredited with us, and basically we vet you.
Mm-hmm.
And so when someone goes on our website, which is bbb.org, before they go to a local business, they can check out your profile. And if you're accredited with us, then they know that if you need a license to do what you do, mm-hmm. that we've made sure that your license is up to date. And every year we make that available, mm-hmm. excuse me. And we have somebody in our office that checks it out to make sure that you're up to date on all of your things. Because when we talked about the hurricane, lots of times we'll have those hurricane chasers, and they'll come in, and even though they may know what they're doing, and they actually may be licensed in other areas, mm-hmm. if they're not licensed in Florida and you live in Florida and you hire them, then if something happens, then you don't really have anything to do.
Really?
Yeah. So we make sure that they're licensed.
So people can just call you and say, what about this business, and kind of check them out and really get the lowdown before they get started with somebody?
Exactly. They can call us. They can go on our website, and they can look and see how long that business has been around. Mm-hmm. The key players, if they've had any reviews, we'd love for consumers after they have been a customer of a business to go mm-hmm. on our website onto the business's profile and actually leave a review. Hopefully it's a positive review, mm-hmm. but we also have that opportunity for negative reviews and as well as complaints.
Now, when that happens, you all address those with the business first before they end up out there.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what the vetting process also allows us to do. So on other websites that we will...
Yeah, no, I got you.
remain nameless. You can just put up whatever you want to, and they don't even find out if that person actually went to that business.
Yeah, or if it's a real person.
Exactly. So what we do is once you do it, especially if it's a complaint, but also reviews, once you do that online, then you'll get an email back, and that is to make sure that the email is an actual email, mm-hmm. And you have to, click on the fact that it is you, so that's the verification.
You have to verify the storefronts and the traffic lights and all that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. And so afterwards, positive, negative, whatnot, we get that review in or the complaint in, and then we send it to the business and we say, hey, was this person a customer of yours? Yeah. If they write back and they say, or they call us and they say, we don't even have record of that person.
Right. We don't even sell orange juice.
Yeah, exactly. And so then we get back with the consumer and say, do you have a receipt? Do you have anything that proves? And 9 times out of 10, if that actually happens, we never hear from that person again. Because unfortunately, there are people out there that are other businesses that are in competition and they want to try
to play dirty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So unlike other websites where it takes, I want to say an act of God to get something down if it isn't right, we don't put it up until we verify.
Yeah. Which is, so obviously I've been through that experience, which was why I asked. We had, back in the day, in a former life, owned a business, and we had some people that were doing just that. They were competing, and they were putting up horrible reviews. And it was we were a restaurant, so one bad review, and or somebody calling rat or cockroach or whatever. And
what's this in my soup?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and luckily we were members of the Better Business Bureau, so when it happened, they were obviously on our side first, because the person that called was not a member. And we got the benefit of the doubt, and it was nice because nothing got posted or out there publicly, because we were able to dispute and prove that we didn't have rats in our soup. So not that rats like soup anyway, honestly. Okay, so what's the difference between the Better Business Bureau and the Chamber?
We actually have businesses that we work with with those types of things. Our seal is over 100 years old, and it basically tells somebody that we have gone ahead and made sure that you're doing business the correct way, and that you are who you say you are. I'm not saying the Chamber doesn't, but they don't have to do the vetting process.
Yeah, so you're more of a regulatory style of things.
Yeah, so we make sure, we want the marketplace to be an ethical marketplace, and so that's why we're here.
Okay, so let's talk about some ethics, because you would think that they come easy to people, but they are quite the physical challenge, aren't they?
They can be.
Yeah, it's okay. We know they're out there. It's okay. So what are some of just give us an example of some of the ethics that are expected.
Well, we want you to build trust. We want you to advertise honestly. We actually have a new website now called bbb.org, Ad Truth. And if you see an ad either in newspapers or on TV or a billboard that you think isn't accurate, you can go online and fill out our form. And it's all around the country. So if you're in a different part of the country and you know where you are, you actually can put that in.
So it's like
on the website.
For advertising.
Kind of. Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
And so it'll go to the zip code, the BBB, and if it's in our area, then we'll take it. And then we actually do ad reviews. I use if a business says that they're #1 in the world and they're in Pensacola, we're not going to say that they're wrong, but we're going to ask them to prove that what they say. Yeah. And if they can't, then we're going to ask them to alter their advertising, because we want the consumer to be able to know that it's
like you're not the only one that makes orange juice.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, we're not a government agency. We're
That's good. So there's no red tape, right?
Well, we're open when other agencies aren't.
There you go. No national holidays? All right. All the good, no bad.
Yeah, but we're not law enforcement either, so we can't make anybody do anything. But the profile that we have for that business, if they don't alter their advertising, or it will go up, and people can see that is the truth.
So, you say you're not the legal authorities, but it's funny because these days, I think the power in business is held by the people more so ever than by any sort of enforcement agency. But the power of reviews and the speed of social media, I mean, you can be shut down so quick just because you're not doing the right thing.
Exactly.
So I think I can see both sides of why we need you. And then also it's like, you're right. And even if they were policing, you really can't, 5 reviews from somebody. And people are looking at that stuff. That's really what they're going for these days. So, and
I tell people, I do presentations all over our area on identity theft and predatory lending and scams. And I tell people, go on our website, look at the profiles, look at the reviews, look at the positive and the negative reviews, look at the complaints. Yeah. Don't not do business with a business simply because they have a bad review or they have a
Right.
complaint, look and see how they worked with BBB and worked with a consumer, because sometimes
how they resolved the problem.
Exactly.
You mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Look at how that's the way, somebody that goes through the process and wants to make things right. And again, sometimes the business will do everything that they humanly possibly can. Say somebody wants their money back and they give them their money back. Well, a customer still might not be happy,
Right.
which is their prerogative. But if they've gotten their money back, what else can the business do?
Yeah. True.
So we resolve it as closed, and the business did what they could.
Right. So, okay, what other kind of reference materials or things are on your site or in your organization that if I'm starting a business might be good for me?
Starting a business, you actually have to be in business 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's still starting a business. That's still startup. Yeah. So anyway, as I was saying.
Yeah. Basically the 6 months, we'll just, check you out and make sure, like I said, again, we have someone in our office that's really good. I'd never want to cross her because she knows the websites to go to and to look and make sure that you've gone through the process and made sure that you've got your regulations and everything intact. And then, we just help you with that seal, and they can put it on their social media and whatnot. And we welcome them, as an accredited business. And then we just, offer them the opportunity to come to us and see whatever we can do, to help them with their business.
So I know you live in the world, so this is probably going to be a way biased question, but do people actually, do they go looking for the Better Business Bureau seal before they do business? Do you find a lot of people like calling you to find out if they are or not?
We have people calling every day, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I like to go out and give these presentations and let them know that the BBB is still there.
Right.
And we are one resource. We have only the information that we can gather, we're just one BBB. So if you know something about a business or, an individual in a business, let us know so we can look at. And again, that's why
good
we
and
do
bad
the
too,
advertising.
by the way.
Pardon?
Good and bad too, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't always have to be bad.
Yeah, let's talk about our torture words if you don't mind, because that's what we want to do. You don't have to be accredited with us. If you know of a business or you work with a business, nominate that business.
Yeah.
Our deadline is March the 15th.
Can you self-nominate?
Yes.
Awesome.
Definitely. You
Perfect.
can self-nominate. And what will happen is if it's a business, because we have 3 parts to our torture words. So you fill out the form. You can do it online or get with us with a brochure or stop by our office at 912 East Gadsden Street. And we'll certainly, you can fill one out right there. We'll send you a list of questions, and then we'll set up an interview for a couple of our reviewers to come out and just talk to you about your business. And we have, like I said, 14 counties, so we broke them up into 3 districts. So Escambia and Santa Rosa are District 1, Okaloosa, Walton, District 2, Bay, and the other districts over are District 3. And so that's how we do our awards.
So are we competing against the districts or are we competing against ourselves?
Ourselves.
Okay. I just didn't ever be like down with District 3.
Yeah, and we've had, we've had businesses that have, been across the board, so we've given out 2 awards, or if they
if you have a spot in each of the districts.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Yeah. Take all 3. Just call it a clean sweep. Yeah.
And then we also have customer service excellence. So if you have an individual in your organization, or if you work outside your organization, you have someone that you work with on a regular basis and they just go above and beyond to help you, nominate them as an individual, because we also have that.
That's good, because that is such an underrated piece of doing business these days. And it's funny because as underrated as it still is, and when you get great customer service, it really makes an impression, because you don't always get great customer service.
Right.
But it's also going to be, it's becoming the equalizer between reviews, like your product being legit and actually doing what it says it does and solving problems, and then the customer service. Like, those are the 2 things that are going to keep you sustained, I think,
right, exactly.
as a business owner and as a person in business.
Well, and you're showing that individual that they're doing the right thing and that they're being noticed.
Yeah. Which is nice.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's more than money.
Yeah.
I mean, when they did the surveys and stuff, a lot of times it was recognition was the one thing that they wanted, even more than a raise.
And if it comes outside their business, that shows their bosses, their supervisors, that other people are seeing what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
very
it's
cool.
not just their own inside. Then the third part is we have scholarships for juniors and seniors. Again, broken up into districts. In the last several years, we've been able to give 3 $1,000 scholarships. So it just depends on how much we have an online auction that I'll talk about in a couple of minutes to help us out. But juniors and seniors in District 1 and 2, which is Escambia, Santa Rosa County, or the other districts, we do the same way as we do with the business and the customer service excellence. So we've been able to give out 3, and some have 1 year they came all from one school.
Awesome.
But it just, our reviewers look at everything that they have to do. They have to do an essay. Their community service plays into it. If they apply as a junior and they don't receive it, they can reapply as a senior. And they just let us know, the recipients let us know what school they're going to and give us that information, and we send the check directly to the school. Yeah. And this year
free money, kids, free money.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're going to need it.
Yes. And this year we're actually asking the recipients to videotape them reading their essay so that we can post it.
Nice. It's also so you don't have to sit there and read it.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just the recipients that do it. But it just gives, we want to have that presence out there and show. So it's not just a name and a school. So they actually see that person. Because, more and more, not just social media, but the interaction of the young people going to college is a little bit different than when you and I did it.
I try to be young enough that I still know all the dirty tricks they're up to. So I can catch the kids sneaking out the window, but I'm also still distanced enough to be like, what are y'all talking about sometimes? So
exactly.
I think that has to happen though. I think it's sort of it's a rite of passage.
True.
For both of us.
To a certain extent.
For both of us.
Yeah, exactly. But then we have an online auction that's coming up April 22nd through May 1st. And any business that is out there that has a service or, a product that they would like to donate, we would love to have it on our online auction because that's how we help fund our program.
Yeah, we'll throw something in for sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
We like to do that. It obviously, we just like the content. So you wouldn't believe who it brings through these doors.
Well, you didn't let me in last week. So.
Well, there's a certain protocol I do have to meet, So I want to know who regulates the BBB. Do you all have a governing board that for each individual entity?
We do. Okay. We have a membership into the council of BBB, which right now.
So it's the business owners that actually participate in.
Yes, we're self-regulation.
Yeah, democracy at its finest.
Right.
Very cool. Okay, so if anybody's interested or wants to get any more information, where can we send them to?
bbb.org. I will give you the information for the Torch Award because it's a little bit longer. It is bbb.org/NWFL for Northwest Florida /Torch Award. That will take you directly to our website for the Torch Awards. And again, the deadline is March 15th at 2 p.m.
Very cool.
So that's 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Okay. And so what's it take to nominate? You just put their name in and say why they're good at what they do?
You just put their name and address in. If it's a business, you just fill out the form that's the name and the address, and if you're the nominator, and then once we get past our deadline, then there's someone in our office that will contact the business, tell them that they've been nominated, especially if it's not the business themselves that are nominating them, and they'll send them a list of questions and set up an on-site interview.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So to make sure that they are legit. Right.
Exactly.
And then, so for those that may ask, what's the interview process like? Is it?
They just want to know how you run your business. What processes do you go to?
Yeah.
We know that they've been in business. Again, they don't have to be accredited, but they do have to be in business at least 6 months because they have to.
And they don't have to be members necessarily.
They do not have to be accredited with us. No.
Yeah.
We might be talking to them while we're there interviewing them about that, but that is not a criteria. No.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that. What is criteria for being accredited and being a member?
Well, we talked about the trust building and advertising, honestly. Make sure that you are telling the truth all the time. Be transparent, open and honest again.
We are human.
Yeah, exactly. Be responsive. Again, when we get something from a customer and we reach out to the business, we want you to respond. Safeguard privacy. We don't want someone doing business with you and then all of a sudden you take their information and use
third parties and cookies and all that other fun stuff. I say this. I just wrote my internet policies yesterday too because we were redoing our website, so it's been fun.
Yeah,
Not at all.
And integrity is big. We just. We want you to do things ethically, and we just, we're big on self-regulation because, it's one of those things where it's a lost aspect of things. And again, when a lot of times we'll get into the scams because that's really my thing. But when we have my thing, did I actually do that?
Yes. Scams are your thing, Tammy. Tammy's things are scams. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. But when we have the situation, like we had the tornado a few years ago when it came through, literally the storm chasers were there as soon as it went away.
Right.
And so we had started having phone calls from consumers because they were actually showing at people's homes saying, I'm here to help. And
$500 later.
Or more. I mean, there's a lot more involved in it. Some people, they don't understand or realize that these people that come in, even though they might say they know what they're doing and they might have a business card, doesn't mean that they're here
for
legally.
Your benefit. Yeah,
exactly. And anybody that wants all their money up front, like if something's going to cost you $4,000 and they say, no, I've got to have $4,000 up front, tell them bye-bye. They might have to get something up front, but they don't have to get the whole thing up front.
Right.
And you certainly don't want to pay for anything, especially if it's something to your home, like in that kind of a situation. You don't want to pay the balance off of anything until you've had that inspected.
Yeah.
Because if you don't and then you pay them, there's no obligation for them to come back if they're not if they don't have the right licenses. So
might as well leave the obligation in your hands.
Right.
Yeah.
Panama City is in a situation right now. We had a call from a woman in the first part of the week. She was online on one of the social medias with an instant message, and she got one from what she thought was a friend of hers, and they were telling her about this grant that she could get because it was for bad.
Yep.
Well, it's for people that were in, tight situations. And so they basically told her that if she sent $650 for the insurance on an Amazon
that's how
card.
grants work.
Unfortunately, because she lost her home with Hurricane Michael, she sent them the $650 with the Amazon card.
Well,
and
of course, she's hopeful,
exactly.
That's
and
what happens. They prey on it.
And when I, talk to people and they roll their eyes when they hear that, I'm like, you have no idea what kind of situation you might be in where you just want to believe that actually will happen. Yeah. And she sent them another $400 for additional insurance. And then when they came back and asked her, all on instant message, they came back and asked her for $750 for attorney's fees. That's when she finally, the light bulb went on and she called us. But we had someone in the Midwest that was a BBB employee, and she got the IRS call. She wouldn't even give her name out to us.
I want to believe that the IRS would actually call me to warn me that I'm going to be charged or arrested for not paying taxes.
But she had actually gone out and bought the cards and was giving the number off when it finally hit her. So, even though she didn't want her name to be known, I tell people, if that would have happened to me, I would have told you, because that way, me doing this for almost 4 years now, it just goes to prove that it doesn't matter who you are or what kind of education you have.
You're moving too fast, or you just you're not expecting it, or you're in one of those situations where you just want to get out of it, and it happens. I've luckily have not been scammed. I've been not moving fast enough, so I've been very slow when those things happen. But a couple of them have been the robots, which obviously gives them away real quick, especially when the translation from Russian into American under the IRS robot recorder doesn't really work.
Right.
It's like
or they mispronounce your name. That's always a good one.
Yeah. So, but then I've gotten a couple live ones with the dudes from Bali or wherever they are.
Yes.
And
a lot of them are coming from India.
Yeah. So I just start repeating everything they say. They hate it. They hate it. Because I'm like, cards? They're like, yes, cards. I'm like, cards? Yes, cards. You know, and so anyway, try it at home. get a good giggle.
We actually have a giveaway that I do when I do presentations, and I do it or give it away a lot for seniors because they want to talk to somebody, or they don't look at the caller ID and they just answer the phone, and then they don't feel comfortable just hanging up on someone. Yeah. I'm like, okay, well, one side of this is a little light for you, and it's a keychain. The other side is a whistle. Just blow it in the
nice,
phone,
right into the phone.
And then, let it go. But the grandparent scam is a big one.
Yep.
And I've talked to several people in our geographical area that have been taken for $1,500, $2,000.
So, and that's the one that's been hitting here lately, isn't it?
It's one of the ones. Yeah. I mean, it's really sad because it pulls on the heartstrings. And
because that's your inheritance. No, just kidding. I'm just kidding. Come on, make it laugh.
It's the grandparents. They say don't tell mom or dad because I don't want to get in any more trouble. Depending on what they are. I talk to the military on a regular basis, and I let them know. With social media these days, anybody can look at your profile if you don't have the settings correct for privacy. And your grandparents. I talk to grandparents that the only way they see their grandchildren sometimes is on things like social media because they don't live close by, and so they're on there and they're susceptible because their name is associated with their children and grandchildren. Well, so a scammer can go on and find out all these names. It's not hard to get a phone number of a person now.
Everybody cries about privacy, and they don't even realize how much information you give away every day.
Oh, and you don't even have to give it away.
Yeah,
some things are public record. I mean, a couple years ago, I Googled my name, and it's a common name, and an aerial shot of my house came up.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's my home address, right there for anybody.
I still get a place I lived like 6 years ago, and a car I owned 6 years ago is still in the driveway of the aerial shot, like the Google map or whatever.
Yeah, because of the age of the shots. Yeah. I mean, it could be a good tool to use if you're looking for something, or, like I Googled you before I came here to find out where I wanted to know where I am. I got the address, but it's nice to see the front of the building.
The address doesn't matter. It's you got to answer the door.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I mean, who cares where you are? If you can't get in, you can't get in.
Well, at least I knew I was in the right place for today. But I mean, there's so much out there that's public record, and now it's all on the internet. And then you've got the data breaches. When you're another thing that happens with those social media, when they ask you to play this little game, and they ask you things like your where did you grow up, what street did you grow up on, what did you name your first whatever. Well, what are they actually asking if you think about
all
it?
of your security question answers.
Exactly.
So just throw them a loop and just be like the moon and Saturn, or one of the other ones that gets me. Oh, I just lost my train of thought. It was when you said that they play the games and stuff on the social media. I don't know. Anyway, go ahead. I totally lost it.
No, well, when you get it back, you can just go.
Yeah. I'll go,
exactly.
Yeah.
Not 3 o'clock in the morning, though. Don't email me.
No, I won't. You won't answer the door anyway. So
yeah, that's true. But yeah, the grandparent scam, the IRS, of course, that's out. One of the things for businesses, small businesses, medium size, it doesn't really matter. But we've had a really influx of W-2 scams. And basically that's when an email for the accountant or whoever takes care of all of your W-2s gets an email supposedly from the chairman or the president saying, hey, can you please send me a list of all the employees with the W-2 so I can review them? And without thinking about it, they've been sent.
And they're gone. And
I can tell you that in another state, my nephew worked for a county, and over 300 employees. Yeah. And after it had happened, it was about almost a month before they were told about it. But it was in February, right as IRS was accepting people's returns. And he had friends that he worked with that had already had their returns sent in and the refunds sent to supposedly the people, but really the scammers, because all they needed was their W-2s. And there was one person that they told me about that had gotten a credit card in the mail, and she just cut it up and threw it away. And I said, you need to tell her to check her credit report because these days you go online and you order a credit card, you get instant credit.
Yeah.
So she probably already had money on that was going to be on her credit report. And so I think I was on the phone with him for about a half an hour, and I don't know what he. Okay, Aunt Tammy. Okay, Aunt Tammy. Yeah. But I just wanted him because he said, "Oh, well, they're going to pay for this and they're going to do this." I'm like, "Well, you need to do it on your own."
Right.
Because just like anything else, you can have somebody help you, but you're the only one that's going to
care about yourself.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I remember what it was I was going to say. So there is a site which I discovered I think about 2 weeks ago that will tell you if your email addresses have been snagged in a data breach.
Yes.
And it's one of the sites that I know, it's Pogged, POWGED.
Okay.
.com. And if you pull it up, it's an open source site. The guy that's done it is one of the freedom fighter dudes. But you put your email address in, and it'll tell you where you were breached and what was breached during that. So, surprisingly, to say I had two of mine that were, which I knew they were. It was my Yahoo account, which is why I don't use Yahoo anymore, and one of my old AOL accounts, which I don't use anymore either.
Yeah,
unlike my mom and dad who still have AOL. Until you got to switch. It's time to switch.
Yeah,
so.
that was a very popular one of the only ones that was out there, early on. We also have a scam that's going around, and I've received several emails since I actually reported on this. And you get an email that gives you one of your passwords and tells you, not only do I have your password, but I got into your computer and I watched you watching porn. And I had this recorded, and I got and you got to pay by Bitcoin. And it was funny because I looked at it, and the first thing I didn't think of was the porn thing. Although I had not watched porn, but it said that I watched you with your webcam, and my first thought was I don't have a webcam,
right?
Not the porn thing.
Not I wasn't watching porn. Way to go, Tammy.
But the webcam. So, your mind works differently when you work on this all the time.
Yeah, I guess.
But I've gotten several of them, but it's always Bitcoin. And they say if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it. They actually say that, and then they give you a certain amount of money to do within 24 hours, or they're going to send this video.
Right, and you don't know.
Contacts.
I mean, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know if you've been hacked or not. So, a couple things. I always put the cover. I get the little cover for the cameras, right?
Yeah.
So that when I am watching the screen, not that there's any of that stuff on there, but because even when you're not, if you walk away, I mean, they get if somebody can get into your camera and see into your house and see when you're home, when you're not home, and parents
really need to take note of that because their kids.
Yep.
With
especially
laptops or computers, and they may not realize that they're walking around their room if their computer is open or if computer is on. Somebody could be watching their kids.
Yeah, and I always had to warn them. Watch where you're taking pictures and stuff too, because people can pick up where you are in the house. What what is that window open? Is that sliding glass door open? Those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And the kids were like, whatever. And I'm like, okay.
And that goes back to the grandparents too, because, on social media, people put a lot of things that they probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
And so if they're, on vacation or this time of year, especially getting into spring break, we're going to probably see an influx of the grandparent scam because they're going to be getting calls saying that their grandchild is in, like Cancun or on spring break somewhere and they've fallen or whatnot. But that's because they can see it on social media because people take pictures of where they are and whatnot.
Because you tell them every second of your life.
Yeah. I use the thing, I don't really need to know that you went to the restroom, but thank you very much for sharing. But,
That's the whole reason Twitter was invented.
I go away and I don't, I post the pictures after I come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you just never know. I mean, unfortunately, you've got to be.
It's like getting, you have somebody pick up your newspaper or you have somebody pick up your mail. These are the old school ways. Now it's you don't post on social media till you get back.
Exactly.
You're right. Yeah.
I still tell people to have their mail held and to go pick it up because one thing, I actually left my house and went down my development. I think it was Saturday morning and every mailbox, and there was 12 homes, every mailbox, the door was wide open. And it's like, okay, well, was it somebody just came by and played?
They're come by to pick your winner.
Yeah, exactly. But I tell people, if you're still paying bills and you're putting it in your mailbox, don't do it in your mailbox because they have a check washing now that they can just copy your signature and wash that check and they can make it for whatever they want to.
Yeah. So, by the way, if you are still paying bills in the mail, call me. We'll work through that. Okay, there's no reason for that at all anymore. Ever.
Well, there are some people that aren't on the computer that much, but I just tell them to go to a mailbox that is locked, so they don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, very cool. Well, we're kind of at the end of our time here, but.
Wow, that went by fast.
I know. I told you it does. It really does. Let's give them the website one more time for both, I guess, the Torch Awards and then if they want to register to be a member.
Yeah, bbb.org. At the top, it actually says join, apply. And if you want to do the Torch Awards, anything from the businesses to the individuals to the scholarships, it's bbb.org/NWFL/Torch Award.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Like I said, I'm glad I answered the door.
You never know what's going to walk in.
That's it, right? Okay, guys, you can find us at Picola Radio X on Twitter. You can find us at Picola BRX on Facebook, or you can find us on our website at businessradiox.com or on our live stream at businessradiox.live. And this has been Pensacola Business Radio, where business is good and your work matters. All right, I want to thank everybody for listening today. My name's Keith Hilbert. This has been Pensacola Business Radio. You can find us at Picola Radio X on Twitter, Picola BRX on Facebook. You can find us on LinkedIn at businessradioxstudios.pensacola, or you can find us on Instagram at Pensacola Business Radio, or on our websites at businessradiox.com, or on our live feed at businessradiox.live. If you are interested in being a guest on Business Radio X, please visit either one of our sites or our social media sites to find a link to book your appearance. This has been Pensacola Business Radio.